Now let's deal with a few more caveats of dealing with a foreign key relationship, parent-child table relationship. Uh, Now I've written down the create table code, but I haven't actually run it yet. So if I look at my Object Explorer, if I refresh my tables folder, you'll notice I still don't have any tables there. All right. Looking back at my diagram here, I can see that the video table is the child table and the account table is the parent table. If I try to create the video table first, I will get an error saying foreign key FK video account references an invalid table called account. So I couldn't create this constraint. I have errors. If I refresh my tables, I don't have that table yet. In short, what that means is I can't create the table because I can't create the foreign key, and I can't create the foreign key because the parent table doesn't exist yet. Which makes sense because no record in the video table is allowed to exist without having a reference to this account table. And I'm mentioning an account table, which sure, IntelliSense knows that I'm going to create an account table because I wrote it on the same page. But SQL doesn't recognize that table as existing until we actually run the create table statement. So the rule is that parent tables must be created before child tables. So I have to create the account table. Then when I go back and I run the create video table, I can do so. If I refresh my tables folder, you can see I now have the account table and I have the video table. All I've run is the create table statements. All right. Now I can save this file, save as, and put it into some folder somewhere. Let's put it in weekly content, week 5, and this is my create table statements for account and video. Okay. So I don't need these anymore. I've run them, and you can see, let's open up a new query so that doesn't distract anybody. I can refresh my tables. My tables still exist. I don't need that code up. All I need to do is execute the code once, and then I can forget about it. But I do want to save the code for future reference, right? That said, let's see what's in our account table from account. I run that. I've got nothing in there so far. I'm getting a red underlining saying that the object doesn't exist because IntelliSense and our Object Explorer are not in sync, so I want to edit IntelliSense, refresh local cache. And sometimes SQL still insists, there we go, it caught up. So now I want to select star from video, and that'll try to show me everything that's in the video table, and I run that and I get nothing. Now when we're adding data to our tables, the same rule applies. When adding records, child records cannot exist before parent records. So what that means is if I were to try to insert a video into the video table, now notice my video title it has a not null requirement where my other fields I'm allowed to leave null, and I've even got some defaults in there, so I'm just going to just enter the video title, or at least try to. I'm going to hit execute, and you can see I get an error that says cannot insert the value null into ACID. Column does not allow null values. Okay, so what that's saying is that I can't put in nothing into my foreign key. That was that not null rule that we put on there. So let's go ACCID, and let's suppose I put in a number like, I'm just going to pick something really high because I know that none of my accounts have a high number. I'm going to go with 1000. Okay, and if I try to put in this key of 1000, first of all, let's have a look at account. All right, I've got nothing in there. If I try to create this video with a key of 1000, you'll see the insert statement conflicted with a foreign key constraint. What that means is that this ID does not exist in the parent table, so I have to have a related record in the parent table to create a child table. So we have to create the parent record first. All right, so let's insert into account. And now in the case of account, let's have a look at the columns here. There's a lot of not nulls all set up. I pretty much have to insert everything in there except for the defaults. So let's do ACK first name, ACK last name, ACK email, ACK password. And I'm going to put in values, and we'll put in my stuff. And for a password, teachers are cool. So it was no problem for me to insert the account record. You can see one row affected. If I do a select star from count, I hit execute, I get an account ID of 1. All right. You can see it defaulted to the date that I actually added the record, and it marked it as an active record. Those were the defaults that I had in there. Now you can't see the defaults on this column list, but we know we added them when we created our tables in the first place. All right. Now, if I try to insert this video record, well, first of all, if I try to do it just like that, I will get the same error again. Okay, so if I do that, if I run that, it says it conflicted with the foreign key constraint. That's because I have an ID of 1 in the parent table, but I do not have an ID of 1000. So if I want to add it now, I change it to a 1. That's my foreign key saying this video belongs to the account that has the ID of 1. So this account right here. So when I insert the video, now first of all, look, there's nothing in my video table, nothing up my sleeves, nothing up my sleeve. All right, I run this video insert, one row affected. Let's look at the video table here. Oh my, video ID started at 5. So that's one of those things with the identity thing. You can't just assume that it's going to be a specific number. You will often skip numbers because errors happen along the way while you're trying to do things. Errors are a natural, normal part of working with a SQL database, and you just have to correctly set up your application with the right error handling so that your application doesn't crash if you don't insert data properly. And that's kind of in a future term for you. In the meantime, you'll notice that I have an account ID here. And I think one last thing I want to do before letting you go for the week is add in how we can do a select statement on this data. All right. So if I do a select star from account, I get everything from account. If I do a select star from video, I get everything from video. If I do account comma video, I get everything from both. But that's not the right way to do it because we've only got one record each right now. We have only one instance where the two can cross. But if we had multiple records, this would not work out. What we really need to tell SQL is how records from those two entities can be correctly joined together. And that's the name of what we're doing here. We're using a join. Now join is part of the from clause because the from clause we put in sort of a data set description. So we would do what's called a left join. All right. And what that says is show everything on the left hand side of this join. So meaning everything in the account table and records from the right hand side that match whatever condition we put in for matching those two records. And we can put in whatever we want as a condition. So we could, for example, say they're considered to be the same or joined records when on 1 equals 1. And if we did that, everything would be joined. And we don't want to do that. What we want to do is have a meaningful connection for these. And in this case, that means that we're looking for where the account ID is equal to the video's account ID. And now we get everything from both tables. It looks the same, and we'll go over the proper way to do a select statement in class next week. And there you have it. That's all for now. See you in class.